Our next guest has worked with magazines such as National Geographic, The New York Times, Time Magazine, Vogue, Jet, Ebony, ESPN, and Essence, just to name a few. Joining us this morning is acclaimed photographer and advocate, Ruddy Roye. Hey, Ruddy, morning. Welcome to Smile Jamaica.
Good
It's
morning,
time.
Dayden.
Ruddy, oh, you look so serious, like you know, wake up. You're not wake up yet.
No, I wake up long time on. But this is always the face.
This is Ruddy's face. Your work is inspired by capturing people's lives in its authenticity. Tell me a little bit about your process when you go out into the world and capture this journey.
For me, it is an opportunity to capture an image that I know is going to live for like 100 years. That's like industry standard. You know, you want this image to speak for a century. And so for me, I have used photography as a beacon, a way to enact change in any way I can. That's not my fault.
Don't worry, that's people who see on TV and calling it to tell you they see on TV. Right?
Oh.
Yeah.
Photography for me has always been a way to change the way I look at TV, the clothes I wear, the people I meet daily on the street.
Yeah. It's
a way to bring a face into the lives of people who consider Black people to be 3/5 of a man. So honestly, this face is something that I've always, Mr. Coleman photographed him about a month ago for a blues project in Cleveland. The idea is this 85-year-old man, that's my son, Yoshua. The idea is that 85-year-old man who has had a very hard blues life finds himself in a position where he's not doing any shows. I wouldn't say he's almost destitute, but you know, he still has to feed himself. And so the idea was put to me was that I could do these images and sell them in a gallery, and hopefully all the proceeds would go towards feeding him and his family.
Wow.
I remember when Breonna Taylor was killed.
Yeah.
That alongside with the Me Too movement, I had no idea that so many of our sisters and our mothers and our women, our girlfriends were raped. And that's why I did a series.
Yeah.
When Virgil died, I was in Miami, and they put up this mural. And I like to, in my street work, I like to juxtapose what is here with an idea that somebody had, maybe in art or a word. And so I found this homeless guy standing in front of Virgil's image, and the whole juxtaposition of this rich guy and a guy who's homeless.
Yeah.
He was actually crying here.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I mean, I don't know if I would say that I've made this face a beacon of who I am as a person. People hardly smile in my imagery or images because I just don't feel like, you know, for me, there's anything to smile about yet. I mean, I do enjoy my life, but the conditions that I'm assigned to photograph, it's always serious. It's never fun. I mean, I photographed some images since I've been here, and I showed them to a friend of mine, and she's going to be upset that I called her a friend of mine. And she said, like most editors, you photograph Jamaica with a different heart. You photograph Jamaica from a place that you never photograph when I'm overseas. Like the images are softer.
Yeah. One of the things I've noticed, Ruddy, I mean, social media, and when we use the term social media influencer all the time, sometimes I wonder, I mean, what are we influencing? What's the power that we're using it for? And you're one of the persons who decided when you went on Instagram that my photography was going to make a difference. And Time recognized you as its Instagram photographer for that year. What makes that difference in you, that kind of advocacy? You could have just put up the photos and people would have and just gotten a million likes. But you included kind of text to put context and meaning.
I started doing that because of the etymology of what Black images have always been over the years. I've lived in America for 20 years, and one of the things that I've heard about Black men especially is that we're lazy, or if we wear a certain clothes or go to the gym too often, they call us thugs or pimps, depending on how we dress. And so I wanted to make sure, or vagrants and homeless faces. So I wanted to make sure that when you met a Ruddy Roye on the street, that you knew his name, you knew his age, you knew where he was coming from, you knew where he fell on hard times, because that could happen to anybody. They say in New York, you're only three rent away from being homeless. And so for me, my photography had to introduce people to a face that you might never normally met on the street. And I wanted you to know that this is the person who I'm introducing you to, and not some vagrant, they like to use the word vagrant, or some thug. A woman is always, the Black woman is always sexualized, so she's either a prostitute or a stripper or a sex worker, and never just a mother. Black love is one of the hardest things to see on the internet.
Yes. In film too. You're here working. You're here assisting JN with their advocacy project, their photo competition. And one of the things I realize is your advocacy has no boundaries. It's on the beach. It's in communities. It is creative artists. It's in the dance hall. For young photographers who are watching this morning and they want to use their lens to be advocates, what's your advice to them?
The one word that has been a guide to me is the word why. Why am I taking this picture? Who am I speaking to? Is there intent and purpose in my photography? Those 4 things I have used as a chart. The why. I've looked at some images since I've been here, and I see a lot of homeless photography. Why are you photographing this man or woman? If they're mentally ill, how can you get consent? If I can speak to a person, if I can speak to a one, how am I able to get consent to use their voice? Because it's not, I am just a vessel. The idea is I'm an advocate, I'm a voice amplifying yours so that somebody can understand what we're doing together as collaborators. If I cannot get your consent, then I'm basically manipulating the situation, editorializing, as we say in the industry. And I have never wanted to do that. I've always wanted to be an amplifier, to have a collaborative experience within photography. And so I ask myself why. I go out, I look for a word, I look for a sign, I look for something that can embellish the image. And I think about, who am I speaking to? Am I speaking to the Prime Minister? Am I speaking to the City Council? Am I speaking to
President of a country?
President of a country.
As you have.
The idea is all those things are in my mind even before I step on the street.
Okay, we have to go, Ruddy, but I know people can find you on Insta. Yes, I know me and you could have talked all day, right? That's his Instagram handle, guys. You won't regret it. Please go on and see the amazing work he's done. Ruddy, always a pleasure talking to you.
Always a pleasure. And last time I didn't say goodbye, so.
Yes, it's true. Yes, and kiss mommy for me, please.
Thank you so much. I'm humbled by this.
And big up mommy for me.
I will. Me sure say she'll listen.
Yes, sure. Good Jamaican mother that. That was acclaimed photographer and Jamaican Ruddy Roye. Coming up, teaching people with disabilities fire safety. More in Smile after the break.